Welcome back, everyone, to Beholder to No One presents Behold Clearlight. I am your Dungeon Master, Ryan Williams, and joining me here are Nikki,
Rissa Lanner,
Greg,
Grigthos Steady Hand,
Ashley,
Emmy Frankincense,
and Keith.
Seuss.
All right, are we all ready?
hell yeah.
Yep.
Yup, let's do it.
In the last episode, our party of foolish mortals investigated an ancient structure from which the mist seemed to billow ominously. Inside, they found twisting tubes and wires along the walls of mysteriously clean, crumbling hallways. Soon, they came to a door locked by arcane means, but before they could set about undoing the locks, they were trapped in the hall by an acidic ooze that threatened to swallow them all. After just barely escaping into the next room, they see vibrant colors emanating from the remains of a destroyed machine. Will the undead brute that destroyed it destroy our heroes as well? Probably. Let's find out. You have just burst into this small, square room, perhaps large, and like I said, there is a kaleidoscope of colors dancing along the walls from a small light in the center of the room. Looks like a bright spotlight shining up towards the ceiling and shooting out in all directions are just bright rainbow colors from whatever source you can't understand. Also, coming out of that small pinprick of light in the center of the floor in the room is the mist, just billowing out like from a fog machine, staying along the floor, but oozing in all directions and seeping underneath the door frames. But in the corner, you see another one of those wretches that you've seen outside. But this one is different. This one is not standing and looking off into the distance or whispering to itself or walking around in circles. This one seems to have a purpose. It is kneeling on the floor with bloody hands and fingers. Some of the fingertips ground down to just the bone, but it is bashing a small piece of metal against the floor. And now that you look and see, there are some smaller pieces of metal all poking out all across the floor in here, sticking out of the mist. It looks like it's been destroying something for a long, long time. And it's just, as it bashes over and over again this piece of metal into the floor, it just says, "Destroy everything. Leave no trace." And it looks up at you, and there's a moment of horror or perhaps recognition that crosses its face, and it stands up to its full height, and you see that it is much larger than you originally thought. It stands perhaps 7 feet high, still clutching that small piece of metal that it was bashing against the floor, its hands dripping with blood, gripping it so tightly and scratching itself against the sharp edges of the metal chunks. And it looks directly at all of you and says, "Destroy everything. Leave no trace." I would like everyone to roll initiative.
Going in hot again.
Hey guys, I think this is what I sensed earlier.
That would make some sense. All right. Are we all ready?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. 25 to 20, anyone?
22 with a natural 20.
22 for Grigthos. Okay. Okay, 20 to 15. All right, 15 to 10 then.
Seuss got a 14.
I got an 11.
Right.
Old guy always goes first.
The old guy is dexterous, okay?
All right, and that just leaves Emmy.
Yeah, I got a 10.
10. All right. All right then. This creature is looming over the whole group, looking at you from across the room, looking like it's raring itself for a fight. What are you doing, Grigthos? This room smells slightly of the acid that is still clinging to some bits of Seuss's clothing, but also of rust and blood and something else you can't identify.
Okay, well, out of the frying pan and into the fire, huh?
the fog is just kind of permeated around the room.
Yes, it's all along the floor. It's not obscuring your vision or everything. It's like a layer of mist along the ground.
Okay, so then I'm going to reach down and grab a handful of it and smooth it out in my hands, and then I'm just going to throw it at the creature, casting Ice Knife.
All right, go ahead and roll to attack then.
Well, that is a 7.
Unfortunately, a 7 is not going to hit.
Weird.
I went from rolling a natural 20 on my initiative to a 1 on my first attack, hitting both
Good.
sides here.
Good, great.
Yes.
Getting them out of the way.
Yeah. And then, so hit or miss, the shard explodes, and the creature needs to make a dexterity saving throw.
All right. That is going to be a 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to do it. So,
Yeah, it's all good.
what starts as the mist solidifies into a shard of ice, but the creature sees it coming and dodges out of the way, and the ice knife explodes against the wall behind it. What's next? You have a bonus action movement.
Well, I have movement, and I'm just gonna run to the nearest corner and
Right.
kind of just back up against it so that I know nothing can come out from behind me.
All right.
Well, round 2, I suppose. Here we go.
And that'll end my turn.
All right. The creature growls at Gregthos and pauses for a moment. And Seuss, you see an opening. It's your turn.
Yep. Seuss is going to kind of see the object in the middle where all this mist seems to be coming from, and he's going to put himself in between it and the monster,
Right?
and he's just going to kind of look at the monster and kind of size him up a little, and then he's going to turn around and strike at the object in the middle of the room with the sword.
It isn't much of an object. It's more like a small hole in the floor.
How big is the hole?
Well, the light source that is coming through, it seems to be a couple of inches wide. But as you step over and get close to it, you're standing almost directly over it. It looks like this, like based on like where your feet fall and all the debris that you're stepping on when you get over there, there used to be a large machine here that has been taken apart. And you can gather that all the chunks of metal all along the ground are pieces of whatever machine used to be here. And this tiny hole is just whatever was left. It's just a light shining out of the floor into the room.
Okay.
So there isn't really much of an object left.
Okay, yeah. Well, in that case, he will move a little bit closer after taking a glance at the hole. And would I be in range to hit him from here? It's kind of
Yes.
hard to tell with his arms.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Arms alone are 5 feet.
Alrighty. Then he will just go for the strike. Well, actually, before that, he will use a bonus action to use Fighting Spirit, which will give me 5 temporary hit points and advantage on weapon attack rolls.
All right.
Yeah, until the end of this turn. So
Until the end of the
I'll
campaign.
get him on both. First attack is a 22.
22 will hit.
God, I hope so.
Now that the creature is standing up, you can see that its legs are completely like torn up by shards of metal laying all around. In fact, there are still chunks of the metal sticking out of its flesh, but it doesn't seem to care. Its kneecaps are almost completely exposed because it has been crawling along this floor for who knows how long.
Gross.
Lovely.
Yeah, a little bit.
And that'll be 8 slashing damage.
8 slashing damage. All right.
Second attack, 22 as well,
Okay.
for 7 damage.
7 more damage. All right. Okay, so you slash out with your sword and cut along the 2 arms that are reaching out towards you now.
Yep. And that will be the end of my turn.
That is going to bring us to Rissa.
What is this creature? Is it like a normal creature with like flesh and bone?
It does appear to be, yes. It looks
Okay.
like it was perhaps once a person, almost. It still has the same gray skin as all those undead creatures outside, but this one is much larger.
Hey, I have gray skin.
I'm not saying that all gray-skinned people are bad. Just saying.
Do you guys think I should try to talk to it?
I think it said as much as it's gonna say.
I think that moment has passed.
Everything. Leave no trace.
She wasn't asking you.
But you're part of everything, so shouldn't you end yourself?
It is reaching out to strangle Seuss.
Damn it, okay.
It's not a robot. You can't paradox it to death.
It's worth a shot. It is part of everything. Alright, I'm going to use, I guess, Shatter on it, but as a bonus action, minus a d8.
Right?
So minus 6 on a con save, DC 15.
Yeah, it is going to fail.
Fantastic. So it will take 19 thunder damage.
Right. You reach out your hands and cast Shatter on the creature. The thunderous noise erupts throughout the room, echoing off the metal walls. This place seems to be much better held together than the rest of the building, like it's made out of different materials or perhaps magically reinforced. But as you cast that spell, dust shakes off just about everything in the room. All of the things laying on the table are dumped on the ground. You hear a small vial shatter in the corner, and the thing shakes.
I'm going to step 20 feet away from the door, but also against the wall so I'm not next to or in line of anybody. Just in case, I'm just going to be like, I think you need to end, sir, not us.
Creature just keeps repeating, destroy everything.
Yeah, you sound like my dad.
All right, that is going to bring us to Emmy, unless you have anything else you want to do.
Nope, that's all.
All right.
Great, so I'm gonna move a little closer to Gregthos, and I'm going to start to pretty much wave my hands around, and all of a sudden several angels will surround me. They're all dressed in suits, and they wear gold masks, and I'm going to be casting Spiritual Guardians. Yeah, they're gonna pretty much be around me, protecting me and Gregthos. So if the creature gets within 15 feet of me, then they will take damage.
All right.
And that's going to be it for me.
Much appreciated.
In that case, the creature's turn is going to come now. Like I said before, the creature is going to try to strangle Zeus.
Okay.
So that is going to be, for the first attack, a 12 to hit, which I don't think is going to do it.
Yep, that'll miss.
All right. The creature tries to reach out with you with one of its massive arms, and you manage to duck out of the way. The second attack is going to be a 20 to hit, though.
That will hit.
It reaches out, tries to grab you, you dodge out of the way, but then you aren't ready for the second attack. You are going to take, oh wow, a lot of damage.
I don't like that. Can I just take a little bit less than a lot?
You know what? Sure, you can take a little bit less than a die. You will take a moderate amount of damage. A moderate 22 damage.
Oh,
That's
jeez.
it?
You have a backup character ready, right?
I do.
Yes.
I know
Sure.
you do.
And the creature has grabbed you by the throat and is squeezing your windpipe.
Okay.
You can feel it trying to crush you out of existence. And in fact, it is trying to lift you up off the ground. But that is going to be the end of its turn. That is going to bring us back to Gregthos.
Damn. Is this thing considered a humanoid?
That's a good question. Let me see. No, actually.
No. Okay.
It is definitely humanoid in shape, but you can sense that it probably would be considered an undead creature.
Okay. So like a hold person spell wouldn't work then, or?
Huh. That's a good question. I guess technically it does not have the type humanoid anywhere in its stat block, so I guess not.
Okay, fair enough.
If you know that it only works on humanoid creatures, then you would know it wouldn't work against something undead.
All right, fair enough. I appreciate that. I mean, I wouldn't have minded casting it unnecessarily, but I appreciate it. Crap, I really don't have much else in the way of doing things. I guess I will toss a guiding bolt at it. Seems like the best thing I can do at this point in time. So, Jesus, I'm not using that d20 anymore. That's an 8.
Dice jail.
Yes, dice jail indeed.
An 8 is not going to do it.
Wheat. Still catching my breath.
You fire it at this creature and you actually hit it square on, but it passes right through the creature's body and it doesn't even seem to notice that you hit it.
Don't aim for the ribs. There's holes there.
Clearly.
Everything.
Yeah.
That's all I got. Yes, that's all I got.
That is going to bring us over to Zeus. It's your turn. Creature is currently strangling you.
So does that mean I'm restrained?
You are considered grappled.
Okay.
I believe grappled you can still attack, but they are at disadvantage.
Yeah.
You just can't move, if I remember correctly.
Yes, you can move. You can also choose to try to use your action to just escape, like to do that.
Since I have them close, I think I'm just going to keep them here, and I'm going to use my fighting spirit again, which will negate the disadvantage at least, and give me some more temporary hit points. With him trying to strangle me, I'm just going to thrust my sword right into his rib cage where he was previously hit.
There's holes there. We just went over this.
We're not adult enough for you to say thrust.
Okay.
Thrust your sword into the hole.
Oh no.
Alrighty.
You've got the creature right where you want him now. He's right in sword range.
Yeah. With a 13 hit.
Unfortunately, no, a 13 is not going to hit. So you try to stab the creature with your sword, but it is actually holding you at arm's length, which is just out of your reach.
Well, I'm going to try again. I'm going to thrust in the same spot. Hopefully, maybe get my aim a little bit better this time.
Everybody giggle. He said thrust again.
Oh dear.
And that will be a dirty 20
That will do it.
for 10 slashing damage.
Right? 10 more damage. There we go. Are you doing anything else, sir? That's your action, your bonus action. Oh, you can't, unfortunately, because you are being choked to death.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I can do, so...
So you wildly swing your sword at the creature, trying to get any sort of purchase in its body. And on the second attempt, you do manage to jam it between two of the ribs and wrench it to the side. And you can hear a couple of the ribs cracking. And it seems to wince, but it just continues to try to lift you up off the ground. That is going to bring us over to Rissa.
I'm going to move 25 feet over to here, right next to Seuss, walking around the hole in the floor. And I'm going to cast Cure Wounds at 2nd level and go, we can't have you dying, you're the meat shield. That is 15 healing to you, sir.
That's much appreciated.
And then I will take a 5-foot step back away from him, wishing I could go much, much further.
As a quick point, if I remember correctly, I may still have my constellation form up and available.
Yes, you had it up in the last fight, right?
Yes.
This is immediately after that, as in like
Okay.
a good 10 seconds passed between the two fights.
Okay, just making sure. Then, as a note, I can do the bonus action attack with that.
All right, great. Well, on your next turn, you will have a lot of fun doing that, I'm very sure. But up next, it is Emmy.
Alright, I'm gonna walk up behind Seuss, which I was gonna ask this. It says when they enter the area, but I don't know if they have to do it on their free will, or if I walk up to them, does that mean they're entering the area?
I think that would count as entering the area.
Okay.
The area's entered them, but same.
Yeah. That's always a weird thing because I'm always confused about that.
Yeah, there are certain things that interact with that kind of stuff weirdly, like forced movement versus voluntary movement and all that stuff. But
Okay,
yeah,
well, if
I would
that's the
say this
case,
counts.
then all of my angels are going to pretty much gang up on this guy and start hacking away at him, and he's gonna have to make a wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom saving throw for this creature. Let's see. That is going to be a 20, not an at
Oh,
20.
Jesus.
Oof.
So it only takes half damage,
Okay.
which I mean is still could be a lot. So let's see.
I imagine little skulls flying around with wings on them instead of angels for some reason, or
Because they're all-
skeletals.
Now, when you said suits, are you talking like business suits?
Yeah, they are all wearing business suits, very clean cut with like large angel wings and gold masks.
That's dope.
Pretty dope. They're all just flying
All
around.
right, so half would be 8 because it was like 17.
Right? 8 more
So
damage.
8 radiant damage. Because
Okay.
I'm good. And then as my action, I'm going to cast Cure Wounds on Seuss. And that is going to be, cool, a whole 5 health back.
Hooray. I will take
I
it.
couldn't do more. But I guess like on the start of his turn also, he's going to take the damage because it says on the start of their turn.
Sure, why not?
So he's going to get hit by them again as soon as his turn's up. So
It's a good old-fashioned beatdown. They're jumping them.
yeah. So that's going to be the end of my turn.
Do you still have those temporary hit points, Zeus? Those are... how
Yeah,
many?
I gained 5 more once I used my
Okay.
fighting spirit again.
Gotcha.
So I currently have 5.
Sweet. If that is the end of Emmy's turn, it is the creature's turn again.
So he has to make a wisdom saving throw.
All right, wisdom saving throw. This time it rolled a 9, so that's not going to do it.
Nope.
Yes.
So he's gonna take the full damage. So that's gonna be 14 radiant damage.
14 more damage, radiant variety. So this creature is waving its free arm around its head, trying to bat these angels away. Doesn't seem to be making any purchase. So instead, it's going to look at the source of this magical spell. It is going to grab Seuss, lift him up off the ground, and attempt to hit Emmy with Seuss.
Oh no.
Here we
I've
go.
become the weapon.
You ever get so angry you try to beat a motherfucker with another motherfucker?
He's going to make an attack roll.
How do you dodge that?
I don't know.
That is going to be a 21 to hit.
Yeah, that's gonna hit. Just barely though.
So
Zeus is
it
MVP.
you are both going to take 20 damage. As the
Jesus.
creature smacks you against the side. In fact, Emmy, you are almost knocked against the wall.
I'm also almost dead.
But it does, in the process, let go of you, Seuss, and you are freed.
Oh, hooray.
I am shocked that he can just pick up random people and use them as weapons like that. It makes sense, but still bullshit.
He's got the improvised weapon expert feat.
Clearly.
So it has thrown Seuss at you, and it is going to just move in even closer and attempt to grab you as well. But that is going to be the end of its turn. That brings us back to Greythos. You've just seen a motherfucker get hit with another motherfucker.
Oh, I have to roll a concentration check on my spirit guardians. How much damage was that? 20?
Yes,
So I have to get what?
At least a 10.
a 10.
Oh, thank God, I got a 12. Okay.
Okay. The angels are still stomping on the back of this thing's head, punching into the ribs, swarming around the creature. All right, Greythos, what's your plan?
I'm still trying to figure it out myself.
I guess I'll have to forego my bonus action attack that I was told I would have so much fun doing.
Do
This
some
turn.
monk shit.
I don't have a lot of monk shit. Look at me! I guess I'm going to cast a second level healing word on Emmy, because he's got beat with his own party member. So 2d4 plus 3.
Currently, Emmy and Seuss are trying to untangle themselves from each other.
You're healed for 5.
I mean, that's something.
For a second level spell, that's not much. Considering I rolled 2 1s on the d4s.
Jeez.
Yeah, not doing great as far as that's concerned. I guess as my action, because I haven't done this yet, and it seems like it might be entertaining, I have a small bag on my hip. I'm going to take that off my hip and hold it in front of me, flip open the top, reach in, and I'm going to grab out a random fuzzy friend.
Oh no.
Let's see here. So I roll a d8, and then that determines whatever it is. I don't trust any of these dice right now. That one, it's a 6, which means a giant weasel appears.
Oh no. Just
A
reach into
weasel.
a bag, pull out a giant weasel. And now, how giant are we talking for this
Hold
weasel?
on. I will look up the stats and let you know in just a moment.
Are we talking like a full medium-sized weasel, like freaking 4-foot tall weasel?
It says it's a medium creature, so I guess
Oh.
so, yes.
Oh
Probably
god.
about as big as us, then.
Yes. You reach into the bag and pull out a weasel that, when you're holding it by the scruff of its neck, reaches the ground with its tail, and it starts immediately thrashing in your hands.
We're gonna let that go, and then would it then have like an action and stuff on my turn, or are we gonna do the whole ranger thing where it acts and uses my bonus action type thing?
I am going to have to look at the rules for the bag of tricks. I'll do that later, though. For now, I'm going to have it just act right after you in initiative.
Okay, cool, sounds good.
Go get him!
That's all I got.
You drop the scrambling weasel onto the ground. It immediately scampers, following your orders to charge this undead monstrosity.
It's like a rabid animal.
The weasel knows no fear.
It does not.
I don't know what any of the weasel's attacks are, but go ahead.
It just has a bite attack. Would you like me to roll it, or do you want to?
You go ahead and roll that weasel attack, my friend.
I will do that using my other d20. Not much better.
I'm going to take the gnaw action.
Yes, and it rolled a 9 total.
Oof. So it does indeed start gnawing at the creature's ankle, but it doesn't seem to be doing much actual damage.
Apparently you can't weasel your way out of this.
Greg's face.
I'm very upset by that statement. But that was good. I props to you. It's all I and the weasel got.
You should use your other
Alright.
token as your weasel. Fuck it,
yeah,
Lord.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Hiya, weasel.
And it looks like a weasel.
Seuss, the creature is momentarily distracted by the weasel gnawing at his ankles, and you see an opening.
Alrighty. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and use my last fighting spirit to get a little bit of health back and hopefully be able to do some damage to this thing.
And since you were used as a weapon, you are no longer grappled.
Yes.
Bonus points?
There's that.
While he's being gnawed on, I'm gonna strike at his midsection for a 19
A 19 will hit.
and 8 slashing damage.
All right, an additional 8 damage. Gotcha.
I'm rolling a lot of 3s.
I'll take a 3 at this point.
Second attack will be a 21
Really hit.
for 14 slashing damage.
All right. You know what? I'm going to have you tell me how you finish this creature off.
Oh, God.
Thank goodness.
Well, the first strike will be across his torso, and then as that goes through, I'm going to come back over the opposite direction and go for his head and just slice it clean off.
The creature leans it down briefly to look down at its foot being gnawed on by this creature, completely exposing its neck, and you're able to slice right through and end this creature's miserable existence, at least
thank
for
goodness.
now. The creature tumbles in a heap on the ground right next to you, Emmy, and blackish, thick ooze starts running out of the hole where its head once was.
I'm gonna step back because I don't want to get goo on my wonderful shoes.
The weasel continues to gnaw.
Rissa's just gonna go, can we take a nap? I feel like we deserve a nap.
I think we should do something about this hole first.
Will everyone
Yes.
get around me first? Because I'm going to cast Prayer of Healing on everybody so that we can get some hit points back just to be safe.
Oh, by the way, I'm sorry for kicking you earlier.
I mean, it's no problem. It wasn't you. That guy just thought you looked like a good weapon.
I hope he thought well of me.
I mean, if it makes you feel better, you were very strong and you hit me pretty hard, so.
Does make me feel a little bit better.
All right, so I'm gonna take 10 minutes to kind of like meditate and just start casting Prayer of Healing on everybody. I'm gonna cast it at 3rd level so that you guys can get a lot back.
I'm going to just go sit against the door, and while she's doing that, I'm casting Detect Magic.
So everyone gets 18 hit points back,
Nice.
including myself. I rolled very well.
So while you're but the two of them are taking the time to cast those spells. Detect Magic is you're also casting as a ritual, correct?
Yes.
Okay, Gregthos and Zeus, what are you doing?
Is there anything that looks like it's big enough to fill in the hole or cover it up?
You're glad that you're wearing some nice boots because there are just pieces of broken metal all around the room, and you figure maybe you could, like, if you wanted to fill the hole, you could scoot some of that stuff into it. There are also a couple of tables against the walls, and you can see lots of what looks like ancient equipment, some of it mechanical, perhaps some of it magical. It's difficult to tell without a closer look. Wanted to, you could kick some of that stuff into the hole if you wanted to try and
Yeah, I guess I'll do that. I'll just push some of the junk on the floor into the hole and hopefully plug it up.
right. So you spend a little bit of time doing that, and it unfortunately doesn't seem to block the hole completely. Some of the light seems to still be pouring into the room from that strange bright white light beacon aimed at the ceiling, and then of course all in all directions from the same hole is just a wide variety of colors, and you almost swear you see a new color you've never seen before,
Interesting.
a new color that has not been seen by any person,
That's weird.
completely different from all other colors.
Is it like a pink?
You don't have a word for it,
It's green.
Perfect.
but that's only for a brief second. It's just a rainbow of colors dancing across the walls like you're inside a kaleidoscope or something. But the room itself, without those bright flashing lights, seems rather boring. It is a bunch of scientific equipment. Looks like maybe this was at one point just like, well, whatever this machine was in the center seemed to have been pretty important, but it's difficult to tell what it was. Actually, you can see some like books lined up on one of the desks in a corner as well.
I'm definitely gonna go for those as soon as I'm done with my spell.
Yeah, I guess I'll just kind of keep watch after that and just make sure nothing else crazy goes on while I see them doing spelly magical things over there.
All right. Anything you'd like to do in particular, Gregthos?
I think I'm just hyping up the weasel at this point. Like, yeah, MVP, you did it! High five!
How long do you have that weasel for?
I mean, it doesn't say specifically on the bag of tricks how long the creature lasts, so I'm going to assume it's either
forever.
until the creature dies or until I use the bag of tricks again. Because otherwise, I could literally just kind of just start throwing animals all over the place.
Yeah, make a menagerie.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there a limit to the number of times you can do that a day?
3 times a day.
Okay. How about this? Once again, I will just have to look up the bag of tricks later, but for now, the creature I will consider to be charmed by you for a while. Go ahead and roll a d4 if you want.
A D4. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, sorry. It says the creature vanishes at the next dawn or when it is reduced to 0 hit points.
Okay then, good to know.
Do I still need to roll the D4?
Yes, for fun.
It's a 3.
All right, for the next 3 hours, this creature is charmed by you, and then after that will become a regular-ass weasel. Giant weasel.
Giant weasel, yeah. There you go.
Regular ass giant weasel. It's its scientific name.
Regularitus weaselus.
Yeah, that's all I'm doing at the moment.
All right, so eventually the prayer of healing spell is completed, and you all feel so much better. Seuss, you've managed to wring some of the acid out of the edge of your cloak finally, without burning yourself too much.
It has new holes.
And also at the end of the prayer of healing, my spirit guardians are going to go away, so they're all going to kind of line up, and they're just going to take a bow and just poof out of existence.
Zanite.
Is that what all my spells do?
Yes,
just
they
say
all go
Zanite?
Zanite. Yep. Anything that has to do with skulls.
There was no skulls involved in my spirit guardians.
Oh,
They were
I guess that was
angels.
something. Sorry, I guess that's something Nikki said, and I just kind of ran with it.
I just thought it'd be funny.
Just little skulls with.
I mean, he's all like anti-necromancy, and then all of the spells have skulls.
All right, so yeah, I'm gonna go. After that's all done, I'm gonna get up and I'm going to walk over to those books and look through them to see if any of them catch my eye.
Okay, well first, Rissa's spell is going to finish just a few seconds after yours. Just as you're starting to feel better from the prayer of healing, you complete your spell, and the whole room is glowing somehow even more.
Oh my gosh.
The spell is useless in this place.
But no, it is not completely useless. There are a couple of things that catch your eye. First of all, the hole in the floor seems to be like, it looks almost like something, this is something you couldn't see with your naked eyes, but it seems to be like almost like a fountain of, it almost looks like a liquid shooting out of this hole in the floor.
Oh, that's
It's
weird.
like a stream, just sort of, and then oozing out in all directions. Sort of similar to the mist, but with a little bit more force. I think it tells you the school of magic as well, correct?
Yes.
All right. Well, this is a variety of schools. You see necromancy. You see the glow of conjuration magic. In fact, conjuration magic is the strongest of them all. Other things that catch your eye, on one of the tables, a couple of grayish squares are glowing on one of the tables across the room from you. One of the books seems to be magically enchanted to keep it from deteriorating. And speaking of the books, Andy, you walk over to the books, and most of them are illegible at this point. It's just a few, like 5 or 6. And you pull one of them out and you try to open it, and the book just immediately falls apart. The pages are just a slop of like unreadable sludge at this point.
Oh no, beautiful book.
You try the second one, and this one is a little bit better. It is damp, but it is at least still a book. And it seems to be like an instruction manual on how to use a machine called a siphon. And you remember that the word siphon was on the sign outside this place.
Oh yes.
But this is very spotty. You can spend some time if you want to try to get what information you can out of this, but it's going to take you a while.
Could I just take it with me, or?
You certainly could.
Okay.
Is that the magical book?
Yes, actually.
That book's magical. I mean, it's kind of obvious because it's not deteriorating, but just so you know.
Cool. I mean, it doesn't seem to give off any other kind of like energy besides the fact that it's just keeping the book together, right?
Yes, it's like they laminated it magically.
Okay. That's kind of cool.
Gotta love
I need to
magical
learn that
Scott
spell.
Before I check out the fountain in the center, I'm going to look at the 2 gray blocks that you mentioned.
These are 2 ancient machines infused with magic. And it looks like there were a couple more of them, but they're broken in half. This is like a stand where they stored a group of them. There's spaces for 6, but it looks like only 2 of them have retained their magical enchantment. But yeah, these 2 grayish like square metal boxes with small, like perhaps antennas sticking out of the top. And you're like, are these like communication devices perhaps? out of character, perhaps your character might not recognize this, but it looks like you found like a walkie-talkie stand.
Okay, so sending is an evocation spell. Does it look like an evocation magic?
It does.
Okay, so it could either blow up or send messages.
And you
Or
have
both. It
Or
could do both.
Who wants to test?
Because if it's fireball, that's also evocation. Pretty sure. Okay, so I will share with the group and say the thing in the center with all the misty stuff, it doesn't really seem like mist. It's magical. I can try to dispel it. I only have one more powerful spell.
I mean, we've been in here for an extended period of time, and it doesn't appear that the mist is harmful in any way.
No, but it's like a mix of necromancy and conjuration, so it makes me concerned that perhaps this is summoning or conjuring these creatures that have been attacking us. Or not attacking, but the ones that are just standing outside doing nothing.
I mean, it might explain what could have been something that might have drove whatever this creature is to be this crazy, maybe. I mean, maybe he sat in here long enough and it affected him. So I'm kind of weary about staying in here too long.
Same here. Especially if she's saying that it's necromantic in nature, I don't really want to stay here.
Well, it's not only necromantic. I mean, honestly, did you realize that Revivify is necromantic? That spell heals people.
Well, I know. I have necromancy spells in my
So they're not
repertoire,
all bad.
but that's true. Just makes me wary.
I vote we take at least a little rest. Maybe a long rest.
In here?
It's blocked from all sides.
I mean, yeah, there is a giant ooze outside that's protecting us, I guess.
That's a word for it.
Why not try it while we're not being attacked? I'm almost out of spells.
I mean, there's no other doors in here, right? That's just the one?
No, there are 4. There's a door on each wall.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Each of the 4 walls.
Realistically, if you were worried about us exposing ourselves to this potentially dangerous mist, wouldn't resting in this room be potentially detrimental?
I'm not worried for us. I'm worried for it bringing other things.
Oh, like it's a lure, you mean?
Yes, that's my concern. I don't know if that's true.
I misunderstood. I apologize.
I mean, I can try to dispel it, but if I do that, we need to rest because I'm almost tapped.
We also could take a peek in these other rooms to see if maybe one of these is safer.
Last time I opened a door, I got attacked by something else. I don't
That's
trust
true.
doors right now. I'd rather open this door behind us and finish killing the slime so we know we have an escape since we know that's been injured.
Why don't we put it to a vote? What does everybody want to do? We can either stay here, rest. She could dispel whatever this is, and then we could rest, or we can try one of these other entrances and or exits and just kind of wing it, see what happens.
I'm fine with staying in this room as long as we can find a way to seal this apparent fountain of magic.
I cast a spell magic on it.
All right. So you walk
Way
up
to
to
forego democracy.
Well, that's not going to stop our decision.
You walk up to the hole in the floor with the bright light shining out of it and stand over it and cast your Dispel Magic spell. And the first thing that happens is that fountain almost of magical energy stops. And then there is the light that's shining into to the ceiling briefly gets brighter, and it swivels in all directions, and you can hear the sound of almost sounds like wind rushing through a tunnel or a hole. And then with a sort of anticlimactic pop, the light goes out, and now the room is completely dark. None of you
Dancing
can
lights.
see. All right.
Hey, it worked.
Your dispel magic blinded me.
I cast dancing lights so we could all see again.
Boom, boom, boom. These lights start floating around in circles around the room.
So my detect magic is up for 10 minutes. So is it completely gone?
Yes, and in fact, the mist that was pouring out of the hole has also stopped.
Haha.
And that exposes the floor. On the floor, by the way, looks significantly worse than you originally thought. Now that you are no longer impeded, there's a lot of blood on the floor from this creature crawling around in all the shards of metal. All of these things are covered in either rust or blood or both. Almost all of them both. The spot where this machine was, this siphon, I guess you could call it, there are just chunks of it. In fact, there's a piece of it in the ceiling. It looks like it used to be attached to both the floor and the ceiling, and was used for summoning something, perhaps. Some sort of conjuration magic was happening, but now it's gone.
The good news is, no more necromancy. Now we can rest here if we choose to.
Is the ooze on the floor still there from the monster? The creature?
Yeah, there's probably like a couple of puddles of it still on the floor from where Seuss originally emerged. He was covered in the stuff when he first came into the room.
Okay, because I'm going to take one of my vials out and scoop up some of the ooze to put it in my pocket along with my bones that I got from the shadow cat thing.
All right.
Because I'm just trying to collect everything I possibly can to study. And I'd also like to look around the room to see if there is any piece of the machine that's like kind of intact that maybe I could see some semblance of maybe what it was at one time, or even if it's not something I know, I can at least maybe grab it and kind of like study it.
All right. Go ahead and make an investigation check for me.
I will
Okay.
hold up the 2 gray boxes I found and said, I found these. Maybe this helps.
Okay, that's going to be a 21.
Ooh, you are mighty investigatory. You take a little time looking around the room, and it looks like this creature has been in there for a very long time, destroying this thing by hand. But you are able to find one piece of it that seems to be like almost like it looks like it was perhaps a chunk of like a curved piece of metal protecting something on the inside. You found like a piece of the outer shell, perhaps. And looking around the room, you find a diagram of a very simple one, at the very least, of what this machine might have been shaped like. It looks almost like a gourd, shaped like an 8, perhaps, with an opening in the top and the bottom. And in the course of your looking around the room for pieces of it intact, you find like a bunch of small tubes, lots of magical inscriptions on broken pieces of metal. The thing seems to have been somewhat successful in leaving no trace, but there is, in the books that you will take some time to look through and the diagrams on the wall, you're able to determine this was once like a gourd-shaped machine used to draw magical energy from somewhere.
That could explain the siphon part. Well, I only need to, if we're going to rest here, I only need to rest for like 4 hours. I just go into a trance and I'll be good. So if you guys want to rest in here, I could spend some time studying this stuff and keeping watch to make sure that no one comes in through these doors. The fact that there's 4 of them makes me a little worried, but we should be okay.
Sounds good to me.
All of the doors are magical, so that is somewhat reassuring.
Okay, that's good. They probably all have those locks then. If you guys want to set up camp here, like I said, I'll keep watch first. And as long as I get 4 hours of uninterrupted trance, I'll be good.
Before we go to like settle down, Seuss is gonna pull out a book that he has under his cloak and just kind of flip through it and see if he can find anything that looks like it might match any pictures or anything that might be in here. He's basically looking at the repair manual thing he found earlier, and he's going to try and see if he can find anything that looks like it might match.
Sure. You spend a little bit of time looking through this book, and this is a lot of similar like schematics, diagrams of parts of machinery, instructions for upkeep, but you do find one symbol that matches the symbol of the siphon.
Okay.
And it seems to be the case that the machine that you found deep underground, it uses that symbol as a symbol for power or a power source.
Okay.
It's not great detail because it's not about that other machine, but there's a couple of uses of the symbol. It's like whenever you need energy for certain parts of it, it uses that symbol to represent where you're supposed to be getting the power from.
He's going to walk over to Emmy and just kind of close the book slowly and then try to hand the book to him and be like, you might be able to make better use of this than I can. A lot of it's kind of unintelligible to me, but you look like you might have more of a sense for what this means and what it is than I would.
Okay, I'll take a look at it.
Well, Emmy, the book that Seuss is giving you it appears to be a manual for the maintenance and upkeep of an ancient machine meant for transport. You see a word that you recognize that you haven't seen very often, but you have seen like passing references to it before. There's a series of tunnels underneath the city that, some people have been through, mostly homeless people and other people who are not having the greatest of luck spend their time living in there. There are ancient tunnels that are all caved in at this point that have been called subways. They were used for transport long ago to get people from one city to another.
If there were poor people and stuff and like living in there, I've probably been down there because I'm always going around trying to find people to help sick. So I don't know if I've actually been down there at one time, but in the 450 years I've been alive, I'm thinking I might have at one time.
That seems like a pretty reasonable thing. So you've probably been into one of those subways before. They are old tunnels. All of them are caved in after a certain point. It seems like it was done intentionally almost, and that's probably because they would need to keep the mist out or the creatures in the mist. You do know that anyone digging underground, because a lot of the city is underground excavated, but in certain places sometimes they will find ancient caverns deep underground, and sometimes there are mist creatures in those caverns, so they have to be very careful when excavating underground. So that's probably why they're all out of use these days. But yeah, this is diagrams for a machine used to travel through those underground tunnels. And if you can get like the support of a few artificers or perhaps just funding or something like that, you might be able to fix one of those machines. Of course, you are going to need some sort of power source, like perhaps one of those siphons.
That I just destroyed.
Yeah, this thing has been attempting to destroy all trace of this siphon for a long time. Fortunately for you, it doesn't seem to be able to read, so it didn't think to destroy the books.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe that book that I got might explain how to either maybe not create something like that, but maybe it might have some information about what it is, and maybe if I get enough people together in my guild, we could probably figure out something. I don't know, it's just something I definitely want to look into.
Certainly.
So I'm just going to, like I said, I'm going to just kind of sit myself wherever looks comfortable. I mean, I know you said the floor was completely destroyed, but I'm sure I could find a little spot that I can just kind of sit and...
If you can just shuffle some of the shards of metal laying all over the floor, it's just a regular tile floor underneath that.
But I'd like to be in a vantage point of like all four doors, just so I can easily see anything that's coming around me, and maybe have everyone kind of positioned around me so that I could, if anything happens, I could warn them instantly.
And this is just a regular square room. It doesn't seem to be built for comfort. There aren't even any chairs left in here.
Rude.
There are a couple of tables around the edges of the building.
I mean, if it can hold my weight, I could probably just like sit on one of the tables.
I would like you to just roll me a d20 real quick.
It's a 7.
You, the first table you sit on breaks under your weight.
Well, not that one.
This place is old.
Ow. Okay, I think I'm just gonna sit on the floor.
Magically enchanted and built very strongly, but the stuff inside, regular furniture. That's thousands of years old.
Yeah, I think I'll just sit myself here on the floor. I think I'm safer here.
When we start to take our rest... Oh no, that's a short rest. Never mind. I was going to do Song of Rest, but I forgot that's a short rest.
Wait, are we doing a short rest or are we doing a long rest?
Long rest.
Okay.
I mean, we've only been out here for 3 hours, but...
I won't get, out of characters, I won't get any spells back on a short rest. And I'm tapped of all high-level spells.
That's fair.
Yes, same
I was
here.
just making light of it because my character's old as hell.
Yeah.
Oh, then you should be ready for a nap.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, we've probably been up for a long time, so I mean, even though we just left like 3 hours ago, we still I don't know what time of the day it is because the mist probably doesn't help, but
I've been up since 5 a.m. and I didn't go to bed till 3 a.m. because I was out partying last night with my friends in case I died.
That is true.
I mean, kind of sounds like a you problem.
I can make it a you problem.
My weasel will protect me.
Now it's chewing on a toe bone.
With his 9 hit points.
MVP over here.
So long rest.
Right. So you all
The weasel will assist with keeping watch for Emmy's watch.
All right.
Cool. Yeah,
And
so I
then he'll
got the
just
Weasley to help
randomly
me.
go rabid.
Probably. Oh yeah, we did say that, didn't we? Yes, actually, he will randomly go rabid.
I wouldn't say a
Well,
rabbit.
at dawn, we don't know when dawn is going to be, so
That's a very good question.
I'm pretty sure the mist kind of makes it hard for us to know what time of day it is.
Yeah.
It's gonna probably feel dark all the time.
Your time of day is determined by the lights in the city being dimmed at night, slightly.
Someone probably should have took keen mind.
I was about to say nobody took keen mind, really.
You try to assemble some sort of comfort in this square gray room with no comforts whatsoever. And after a few hours of resting in here, you begin to hear that noise again that you heard earlier.
Oh, Jesus. I remember
Like
that
there was
noise.
a presence earlier. It felt like a loud sound coming from above you, and it's muffled because now you're indoors in a place that doesn't have holes in the ceiling, but you can still hear it and almost feel an oppressive presence. It feels like something's like above you, and it makes you uncomfortable, like the feeling of having like if you have heavy construction equipment hanging over your head and you're not you don't think it necessarily that it's going to fall on you, but it's uncomfortable to be underneath it nonetheless. And just in the distance you hear
That noise still worries me. I'm saying this to myself because everyone's probably asleep. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna wake everyone up because of that, but I'm definitely going to keep my eyes and ears open to make sure that noise doesn't seem like it's coming from the inside anymore, or in the inside at all.
Also, how are you lighting this place? Because once
Oh yes,
Krista is asleep,
yeah.
I'm sure you have some way to
I mean, I
keep
have
a
dark
light in here.
vision, so
Oh, that's true. You
yeah,
have dark
so I
vision.
wouldn't need to have any lights on. It's 60 feet, so
It treats dim light as regular light.
yeah.
And something like that. I don't remember the exact rules for
It just says you can see in darkness, shades of gray up to 60 feet.
Mhm. But I imagine even if you really needed it, you have some sort of light on you, a lighter or a flashlight or something. There are magical and technological ways to create light in Clearlight. At one point in the wall across from the one that you came in, actually, you hear a loud boom against the door, and you can see a little bit of the acidic ooze seeping in between the seams of the door. But then it recedes and goes away.
Be like, shoot, go away, we're done with you.
That was last episode. Get out of here.
We don't want any.
And also, another worrying thing, at some point, you hear in the door that you came through, just dum, 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 as if somebody is hitting the door with something metal.
Oh, God.
Just 3 hits, and that's it. And you feel very alone out here, especially now that all your companions are resting.
Yeah, I'm not liking this at all.
You have never been this alone because you have been in the insanely overcrowded city your whole life, but for now, there are no people around, and it is disturbing.
Yeah, I'm actually probably, while they're all sleeping, I'm probably talking to my skull to kind of feel like I have some company, because he can say like a few words because he's like a little robotic skull, but nothing really, worth a conversation, but at least it'll hopefully keep my mind off of all the strange sounds coming out from outside.
He can say one word, and it's Zadite.
Just be like, yeah, I mean, it's, I don't like this. I hope these 4 hours pass soon, because I just want to go into my trance and just get away from all this. I don't know what I was thinking trying to come into this place, and I mean, I know this city was oppressive, but God, I just don't know. And then I'll just keep like mumbling to myself, like.
You are cut off by the sounds of massive footsteps outside. something with far too many legs outside, enough to shake the floor that you're sitting on, passes by outside.
Is that enough to wake up everybody, or?
Yes, actually, everyone is briefly roused by this noise of something massive passing by outside, but it
5 more
comes,
minutes, Mom.
it gets louder, and then it goes.
It seems like it's going away from us. It's
Mhm.
not towards us. Okay.
It passes by. Just dust is shaken loose from the ceiling. The weasel is in the corner gnawing on a piece of metal.
Doesn't seem perturbed by this at all. He's just like, whatever. Glad you're handling this well.
Weasel gives no fucks.
Well, that was rather ominous.
So how much time has passed by since all this has happened? Or
All of those things were just spaced out over the 4 hours that you were alone in this room.
okay.
At least it felt like you were alone.
You had the weasel.
Yeah, I mean, he's not very talkative. I think my skull's a little bit more talkative than he was. All right, so after if the 4 hours of it go up, I'm just gonna be like, I need to rest now, please. Can someone take over watch? I don't like being awake by myself. You might want to have a friend, just for your own sanity.
So I guess Seuss will take the second watch.
All right.
Okay, so I'm going to stay in my spot and pretty much roll my eyes in the back of my head and go into a trance.
Somewhat unsettling to look at.
Yeah, I do it with my eyes completely open too. So I literally look like I have a skull face now because I have no eyes. And I also have my mouth slightly open.
When Seuss agreed to do the second watch, I had sat up and raised a finger to say something, and then Seuss was like, "I'll do it," and I was like, "Roll back over."
Rissa just stayed asleep the entire time.
Of course.
In this room, is there any sort of maybe hole in the wall or something?
No, this wall is in contrast with the rest of the building. The walls in here are held together quite well. This is it's like you're in a large metal box.
Alrighty, so I can't see outside.
Yep, there's no light in here without anyone casting a spell or anything, or just having a light source, which I'm sure you could. You could bring a light source with you. You could bring a lantern.
Yeah, I'm sure I have one on me,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm just gonna turn on so I'll be able to see something.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I will just... Does it sound like the sounds outside are coming from a particular direction, or are they just all over?
They're just coming from all different kinds of places. The sound is somewhat muffled. You're no longer hearing the mournful wails of the wretches outside, at least. But that loud, foreboding footstep sound, it was something you hadn't heard before. That passed by to the east of you.
Okay.
Yeah, probably before I went into my trance, I probably would have told him about the clanging I heard on the door too. I was saying that, pretty much tell him, I don't think the ooze made that noise. I don't know what made that noise, but if you hear it again, probably look out for that.
Yeah, most of the time Seuss is just going to be watching probably the door on the east side, just to make sure nothing crazy happens.
Mm-hmm. Well, sitting in this room with just the lantern for light casts unsettling shadows along the walls.
I could imagine.
And you swear you can see the shadows moving every once in a while out of the corner of your eye. But every time you try to look, you don't see anything unusual.
It's just the weasel munching on the piece of metal. That's the shadow that's
The
moving.
weasel does eventually go to sleep,
Aww.
Sleep too.
which makes the hissing sounds that you occasionally hear in whispers in the back of your mind seem particularly unsettling because everyone's asleep.
Whisper, whisper, whisper. It's just Rissa saying whisper in her sleep.
But you're screaming it. Whisper!
CJ probably mentions something about just CJ in her sleep. You don't know what that means, but
It's very unsettling.
I'll say I probably also talk in my trances too, because I'm probably thinking about some kind of experiment I was working on, so probably in my trances I'm probably in the process of Seussing it all out. Seussing, sorry.
Okay, I thought you said that by mistake. That was actually good.
Well, aside from the constant feeling of being watched, the watch passes without event.
Yeah, I think Seuss would more see it as an opportunity to practice just keeping calm and
Carrying on.
yeah, pretty much. And just making sure he can control his emotions and his fear so they don't get out of control when needed.
It's good to me. Eventually, you are able to complete your long rest.
Yay!
Perhaps the most unsettling night's sleep you've ever had.
I don't like it. We need like one of those magic domes I heard things about. I wish I could cast that.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That would be something for sure.
But I can't.
Or the mansion one. That would be cool too.
You have a
I'd like
mansion?
that.
No, like I read about the spell like that, yeah. That's a really powerful one though.
Yeah, I have a doctor in my guild. He doesn't even have a house. He just pretty much casts that every night and always stays in that. And I mean, I would too if I had that spell.
That's fancy.
I mean, he lives pretty much at the guild anyway.
When we rouse the following morning or following whenever, because we don't have a sense of what time it is the corpse still where it was?
The corpse of the creature, yes.
Yes.
Well, it's
okay.
just ooze.
Still
I took
just
some of it.
it's just leaking some fluids. It smells very bad. But it seems to be just a dead body now.
Okay.
Alright.
Good to check.
Fantastic.
Oh, I didn't say this, but like also while I was keeping watch, I probably was looking at that book too. I don't know if I might have gotten any more information from it or.
The new one you got about the siphon?
Yeah.
Let's see. In that time, you probably could deduce that these were used to power entire cities. These are sources of energy. But the book doesn't tell where the energy comes from, only how to use the machine, how to replace certain parts of it without blowing yourself up, that kind of thing. It's a practical manual, not a lot of theoretical knowledge on where the energy comes from or anything like that, but just it apparently was able to pull a lot of magical energy from somewhere, enough to power entire cities the same way the steam engines beneath Clearlight do today.
Would it say anything about maybe that there's more sources that these would be at? Like there's other places that they have these siphons, or?
It definitely says multiple cities. In fact, many cities, most cities in those times had these machines.
Okay, so hopefully maybe we could find another source that hasn't been destroyed and maybe get some more information.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm definitely going to keep reading up on all this stuff because it's very interesting. It's the first sign of this ancient culture that I've seen pretty much since I've been out here, and I'm going to want to know everything I possibly can.
This ancient culture that seems more advanced than us.
Yep, that's exactly why I'm interested in it, because this is amazing to me. It might help me with my studies of trying to find a stronger medicine.
That's true.
Is the weasel still around?
The weasel is still here, yes.
Okay, so it's not dawn yet. Good. That's how we'll tell what time it is. As soon as the weasel poofs into nothingness, that's dawn.
Okay. But you know
Alright,
the
weasel
weasel is
clock.
probably rabid now because it's been like way more
Well,
than
It
4
is
hours.
no longer charmed by Grathos, so now it is just a weasel.
Right, but it's not.
It's not
Rabid.
rabid.
Oh, it's not rabid.
Yeah.
It's not trying to attack us. Like,
Like-
oh god.
It's a scared, curious weasel sniffing its way around this unfamiliar room.
But it's
I don't
still
think any
here.
weasel's more scared than Sprinkle ever was.
Poor Sprinkle.
So do we go out the door that we've already been out of and finish killing the ooze? Or do we try going through the door that you mentioned earlier? I'm assuming you told us in character that had the clanging, or try one of the other two?
The clanging came from the door that you came through originally.
Yeah,
Oh,
I would have
okay.
said it came through that's why I said it wasn't the ooze.
Emmy, the door that the ooze appeared to bash itself up against was the door opposite the one you came through.
Oh, what? Oh, shoot. So that means that it's the wraparound then. Unless there's another ooze.
So many oozes.
I think it would be safe to assume that there are more creatures out there, like the ones we fought earlier.
Yeah, I don't think the ooze was like a rare spawn or anything like that.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, I would like to explore this place a little bit more. And also, there's a very scary noise coming out from out there that sounds very big, and I'd like to stay in here as long as we possibly can.
Wasn't that from upstairs, though?
It was above me. I don't know if it was upstairs, but it was above me.
Well, that's above us is not here.
That's true, but I don't know. I just don't want to go outside.
It's also been 4 hours since that.
Yeah.
So, can I take the time to draw the map so far of where we've come from? To, like, keep track of where we are?
Sure, absolutely. That's definitely something you can do. It wouldn't take very long.
Okay.
It wouldn't take very long. Line, box, got it. As far as we've gone so far.
I want to be able to keep track of what's happening so that we know in character where we've been and how to get out.
Mhm.
I'm gonna look at the other doors to see if they also have arcane locks, like the one we first entered.
They do appear to have arcane locks, but they are locked from the other side, so you can open them from this side.
Oh. Okay.
So which door do you want to go through?
I'm gonna roll a d4.
And you also destroyed the locks from the other side, on the southern end of the building. So that one is not locked anymore.
I vote east.
I agree.
Oh, we're
I think
going back to
east.
democracy now?
Yeah, well, I think we should go east.
You go up to the eastern door in this building, and you press your hand on the panel that would open the door, and the door opens up to reveal a completely blocked tunnel of rubble. The ceiling has collapsed on the other side of this door and is impassable.
Oh.
You could try to dig your way out if you want.
No. I'm not digging.
I'm gonna ask I'm gonna look back the weasel and just go, hey, dig.
Just looks at you.
All right, fine. Back in the bag.
We're gonna pick him up.
That's not how that works.
You're just like, ah!
You stuff it back in the sack.
It just starts going freaking out.
Freaks out in the sack for a little while.
breaks your sack open.
Don't ever say that again.
Oh no.
All right, so we gotta choose another door. Looks like this one's actually, I want to go up to the rubble and see.
Yeah.
'Cause I've seen illusion magic before, so I just want to check. Just kind of touch my hand up against the rocks and see if they're real.
It is real. It does. Just parts of the ceiling collapsed right outside
Alright.
the door.
Yeah, it's
So-
good. It's good. And walk back.
West?
I vote north.
North is fine with me.
Well, north is where I saw the ooze. So you said that was right.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I will warn you, there was ooze on that side of the wall, but that was like 8 hours ago, so I don't know if it's still there, but I will just warn you that you might want to be careful going through that door if you want to go north.
Were there any freak happenings or whatever you want to call it from the other door across from where we are? East
Not-
or west, rather?
Unless it happened on Seuss's watch, I didn't hear anything from that door.
It was honestly kind of hard to tell which direction those noises were coming from.
Okay, so we have the door we came through. This door clearly leads nowhere. We have the door to the north where Emmy saw ooze leaking through it or something to that extent. And then we have the western door where, as far as we know, nothing crazy has happened. Why don't we try that door next?
That's what I said.
Yeah, but
Sure.
but it came out of me, so it's my idea now.
Oh no.
Death glare, death glare, death glare.
I've lived a long life. Bring it.
And it whispers.
Alright. I mean, I say West door too, so
Rissa walks over and just shakes her head as she opens the door.
This door slides open, and it starts to open and then gets stuck, but it is wide enough for you to slip through.
I glance through before I go through.
This looks like a hallway identical to the one you came through from the southern door, with a branching path goes off, and it's like a T-shaped hallway. You can see a branching path going north and south.
Are there any floating skeletons out there?
Make a perception check.
let's see, how much can you see? Do you have your dancing lights up again, or?
Sure.
It's a good question.
Sure.
I would say I can look too if.
Just assume I have dancing lights up whenever light is needed.
Okay.
The light in this room is brighter because, like I said, the rest of the building has holes in the walls and ceilings and is just generally barely held up. But this one room is still standing.
17.
No skelly man in this hallway.
I don't see any skeletons.
But it could be an ooze without a skeleton, so be careful. Things are very hard to spot.
Why not try throwing something down the hallway, and if it gets stuck, then I think we found one.
Good call. I'll take the weasel back out.
Go, weasel.
This weasel is like 4 feet long, by the way.
All right, so then I underhand toss it.
It tumbles down the hallway and then just runs off into the night.
Oh, there it goes.
Good news is
He'll be
no
back
ooze.
tomorrow.
Just in a different form.
No ooze that way then.
All right, so let's go down the hallway.
Right.
I'll let somebody else lead.
Yeah, Seuss will jump in front and lead the way.
I'll stand behind Rissa.
Guess I'm behind Seuss then.
Well, you make your way down the hallway, and a portion of this wall is just completely gone. It's barely could be even called a hallway anymore. Outside, you continue to walk, or perhaps not outside. Portions of it would be considered outside. Now that you've gotten a chance to look at this building from multiple angles, and since parts of the walls are missing, it seems like this is a square building with a cross in the middle of it, leading to this room in the center. It's like they built 4 hallways all around this, and then with more hallways connecting it to the center.
Multiple stories, or was it only one story?
It's a single story building.
Okay, so we did hear it from the
This room in the
outside.
center had more stuff on top of it, but it didn't seem to be a second floor. It was just mechanical things up in the ceiling, causing it to look like 2 stories from the outside.
Okay.
You didn't see any stairs inside.
Okay, so my fear was justified then.
From the parts where we can actually see outside now, does outside look any different than it did before, considering the noises from last night?
No, not that you can see right now.
So do you see giant footprints in the ground?
You've gone in the opposite direction where you heard the giant
Oh
footsteps.
yeah, that's true.
Okay.
But you make your way through this building and continue to look around. You can see this. There are other rooms that you get to occasionally. There's what looks like perhaps break room. You see an ancient vending machine with the glass knocked out, and all of the food is obviously gone.
Except for that one really gross chip flavor.
There's a bag of Tootsie Rolls in there still.
Hey, Tootsie Rolls good.
And they're still good. Amazing.
I was gonna say Twizzlers.
There's still a Twinkie in here. What the heck?
A perfectly normal Twinkie, unaffected by the passage of time.
They're like cockroaches; they never die.
Exactly. So it's a normal Twinkie, is what you're saying.
And then raisins.
Ew.
Yeah, nobody wants those. That's fully stocked.
Do we have vending machines and stuff in Clearlight, or?
There are vending machines in Clearlight, yes.
Oh, okay. So we know what this is. They're like, what is this foreign machine? It's so complex. Beep, beep. It moved.
It does not seem to still be functioning.
The box falls through the thing and then just gets stuck.
Yeah, damn it.
Although there's
Shake
no
it.
glass, so it's like, how?
It's a force field.
Magic.
How advanced it is.
As you continue to make your way through this building, you don't find anything else interesting. You find that some portions of the building have collapsed and other portions are just filled with ancient skeletons of long dead people. And in one room you find a couple of strange shadow creatures fighting each other, and they seem to ignore you as you pass by. But at one point, out through the window, a broken out window, you see a pair of legs, but they are they are small, spindly, thin legs, like almost like bird legs, but it is impossibly tall. You see it goes up, you can't see the creature. You just see legs going up all the way up into the clouds. And a creature that thin and that tall couldn't possibly be able to stand or support its own weight, but it does, and you just see this massive pair of legs just walk past, and there seems to be like an aura of green and black flame around it wherever it walks, and its footsteps leave behind blackened, burnt holes in the ground. It just passes by about 30 feet outside the building, and you see one of the wretches, it passes by, it sort of stops and looks up at the massive creature, and you see coming from the clouds above an incredibly thin, spindly hand reach down and grab onto the wretch, and the wretch sort of struggles for a moment trying to get out of the grasp of this impossibly proportioned creature that you can't even see the body of, but after a second of struggle, it just goes limp and almost looks up at the creature in reverence, perhaps, or something, and it is just lifted up into the sky. And that's where we'll end our session.
The claw.
I was getting that scene from The Mist, like hardcore right there, where they all walk out and they see that giant creature and then they just all shoot themselves. They're like, there's nothing we can do about this.
I was thinking either that or like Siren Head or some shit.
Like that was some major Lovecraft shit there.
That's not
Love
creepy at all. I'm
So it's
glad we
either-
didn't die.
Yeah, it
yeah.
came very close.
Oh yeah.
Or at least you guys did. I was perfectly fine.
You stayed in the corner the entire time.
It's what I do.
Thank you so much for checking out Behold Clearlight, our Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition actual play game. This world is brought to you by Ryan and played by a group of friends who are just looking to have fun and share our love for the tabletop world. Every other Thursday, we will release a new episode of Behold Clearlight. On the off weeks, Greg and I join other members of the TTRPG community and play non-D&D games. You can also check out Greg and I having random discussions on topics in the TTRPG and D&D world with guests on Mondays. If you enjoyed this, please don't hesitate to reach out on Twitter or on Facebook at Beholder to No One. Also, give us a review on iTunes or follow us on Podbean, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcast. Keep being awesome. We'll see you next time. Bye.